Well, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah, good. Well, my name is Carla Sleep, and I am a PSW that works in Coburg Extendicare. I am also your executive board member for Region 2, and I am so excited to have you here tonight to keep you updated. I want to listen to your concerns and answer any questions that you may have. And we also have some really great giveaways throughout the next hour. So I want you to make sure that you stay connected, stay online, stay engaged for a chance to win. So before we get started tonight, I want to start off with our virtual Zoom meeting anti-harassment policy. We will not tolerate any hateful messages from attendees that are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, or ableist, nor any language that is discriminatory or violent in its intent. As such, we reserve the right to expel any attendees from our event that contribute to this type of behavior. And I just want to say thank you in advance for following our policy because this is really a lot for us, really big for us. We also do want to begin our meeting tonight with an Aboriginal land acknowledgement. As settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet here. We thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, as we gathered here, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been the stewards of this place. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territory of the Anishwabic, Huron-Wendat, Hanasus, Iroquois, Ojibwe, and the Chippewa people. These territories is covered by the Williams Treaty. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions of the Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous people have made both in shaping and strengthening this community in particular, and our province and country as a whole. As settlers, this recognition of the contributions and historic importance of Indigenous people must be clearly and overtly connected to our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities, and in particular to bring justice for murdered and missing Indigenous women across our country. So for those of you who maybe are first on this Zoom meeting, you haven't met me before, just a little bit of facts about me. I am a PSW. I do work at Extendicare. I've been there for 18 years. And during this whole pandemic for the last year and a half, things have been really stressful. And a little thing that I have found that a lot of people already know about me is that I love to bake. And I have found that this is my one thing through this all when I've had a really bad day and things are going wrong and I just need to relieve something. I love to bake. And I always go back to the older recipes from my mom and my grandma. And a lot of people haven't heard about it, but the tomato soup cake, which I absolutely love, and also the pineapple upside down cake. So it's just a way for me to kind of relax. And of course, I get to eat it all. So it's always great. Now, throughout tonight's meeting, if you have any questions, because we are going to be able to have time, hopefully, to answer your questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them as we can at the end of our meeting. To make sure we know who is asking the question, we're just asking you to rename your Zoom name. You can do this by clicking, there's 3 little dots at the top of your picture and click rename. And feel free, please, to also include your workplace and your position. just so that we can get to know a little bit more about you. Now that I've told you a bit about me, we want to know about you as well. So as healthcare workers, I know how stressful the last year and a half have been for all of us. So to start off our formal agenda tonight, I'm going to pass things over to SEIU Healthcare Head of Education, Riley Richmond, who is going to walk us through a mental health and wellness icebreaker to get us started. So Riley, I'm going to pass things over to you right now.
Thanks, Carla, so much. It's so good to be here. I'm really hopeful that not only will folks change the names that they have being presented, but maybe you'll consider turning on your camera if you're able to. Just will allow me to put some faces to your names. But as I said, I'm really grateful to be here, and you know, this conversation is really important. I also just want to acknowledge for a minute that we're also joined by some of your servicing reps. So I see Bob's here, Lori, Stacey Ann, it's really nice to see you. Marg is here with us as well from the executive board, and a few other folks who I've had the honor and privilege of meeting before. So as Carla mentioned, mental health right now is a hot topic conversation. We are seeing extraordinary, skyrocketing rates of every type of person across racial, cultural, age, and ability lines suffering, but none more specific to, I think, frontline healthcare workers and you yourselves who have had to endure a lot of stress, a lot of pressure with little respite, and of course, manage the various other symptoms of what it's like to go through a pandemic with your own families and loved ones. So we really wanted to center this start with offering a few different types of services that are available to you and reassuring you that it's okay to access them if you need them. So the first is mental health walk-in counseling, which is available. This is where if you're looking for an appointment on the same day or within a few days, it's very accessible. They do provide counseling services without a need to book a long time in advance. So if you've been following the news, you know that access is a huge problem in terms of wait lists as well. It can take upwards, there's a shortage of psychiatrists in our province, and it could take upwards of 3 to 5 years before you actually are able to get in front of a certified medical doctor, psychiatrist. The mental health walk-in counseling is a great option and holdover for you if that's something that you're needing to address right away. And they can be really helpful for family conflict, stress, grief, depression, anxiety, relationship issues, separation, divorce, or abuse. And like I mentioned, most of the time, appointments aren't required, though some will ask that you give them a quick shout in advance so that you can book something that day. Next slide. Family Services Toronto helps people deal with a wide variety of life challenges, and they've been around for over 90 years. They've been helping to assist families and individuals with counseling, community development, advocacy, and public education programs. And their services are available to anyone who lives or works within the Toronto region. So you'll see that website up there. Hopefully someone can just type it into the chat box as a URL link that you're able to just click on right now. And obviously this is region 2, so you're not in Toronto, but they do have references and various different services. Even if you call them, they'll be able to give you a referral or guide you towards something more regional. walkincounseling.com. So this is another amazing resource available for you. This one in particular helps support various life challenges with different counseling services, again, with no appointment necessary, and you have the confidence to know that you'll be in front of trained professionals. Not only is it difficult to get on a wait list to see a psychiatrist who is a medical doctor, if that's what you're looking for, but the process to even get a referral sometimes to be in front of a psychologist or a psychiatrist as it relates to your benefits and coverage as well. Sometimes if you need to, in order to claim, you'll need to show that you went to your medical doctor and they gave you a referral. I bring that up only to let you know that that's not the case for walkingcounseling.com. You don't need the referral, and therefore it is more accessible. It is a first come, first serve basis for the clinic hours. And I see Emily has also posted that into the chat box for you to access as well. There's also Elemental Health. So this is a really good resource for information on mental health and where to find help. It's anonymous, confidential, and there's a lot of trustworthy information there. It's got a directory of mental health services and organizations, not just geographically for you, but also according to need. Not all needs in terms of mental health are the same. So it really breaks it down for you in an accessible way. There's also information sheets there on different conditions and topics, and different tools on how you can manage on your own. You know, it's interactive and it's a really great, highly recommended source for you too. And then there's, of course, respite services, as I mentioned, as frontline healthcare workers dealing with the brunt of this pandemic. You've also largely as women, you know, been responsible for caring for your family members according to various gender roles. That's not to say that the men aren't either, but you are uniquely positioned, and asking for or needing help with family support services to provide temporary relief from both the physical and emotional demands involved in caring for family members who may have a disability or who may be going through their own mental health issues is absolutely okay and makes sense. It allows for greater opportunity for a fully realized and participatory engagement for yourself in community activities. And really it's about making sure that you have a moment to breathe. A respite break can occur in or out of your home while your loved one is participating in agency or private supports. It can also happen during the day, evening, weekend, or the overnight time period. It looks different for different families, and it's really based on what works best for you. Good. So this is a great summary of what's just at your fingertips. I'm looking around here. I'm seeing some head nods. I know some of you are stewards. I can recognize you. And so I would also recommend that perhaps, you know, you don't find yourself right now, hopefully fingers crossed, in a position where you're needing these services yourself, but maybe some of your members could, you know, benefit from learning or being provided some of the websites. So if you can pass the information along, that's great. It's been quite a pleasure to be here tonight with you. Thank you so much, Carla, and everybody else. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful for everything you do and recognize you as such an important part of our healthcare system on the front line. So it's really nice to see you, and I'm passing it back to Carla now.
Thanks, Riley. That was a lot of really, really good information, you know, and I want to thank you, Riley, for sharing it. And I hope that if anybody really feels like they need any of these sources, that they don't feel ashamed, they come forward and take care of them, because SEIU has just so much information out there to help everything. And I just want to remind everyone that no matter how busy and stressful things get, you really do need to take time for yourself. And it's for your own mental health and wellness. It's, we really need to, we're taking care of everybody in our homes, our families, but we also need to take care of ourselves. I just wanted to let you know that we do have Tyler Downey, who is our secretary treasurer. He's on this chat tonight. Now, he is here to actually help us answer any questions that come up or anything. But is there anything you wanted to say right now, Tyler, or are you there? Where are you? No? Okay, so just to let you know, Tyler is here and he will help with any questions and we can pass them to him or we'll answer them ourselves. All right, so right now, before we move on, we're gonna actually have our first polling question. So it's gonna come up on the screen here. Oh, are you there, Tyler?
I'm here now. I am here. I was talking to the screen. I was trying to get myself off of mute. I think Zoom knows me well by now that I like to talk a lot. So I think they're trying to limit my talking. So I'm just going to do that tonight, if you don't mind. But no, I don't want to take up too much time. First, I want to just recognize your leadership and like doing these meetings. I know this is our third one now, right?
Yes.
And you know, when we talked about it at the board, it was like, let's try and do these regional meetings. And so it's really great to see. I've known you for many years, Carla, and I just want to say it's been a tremendous journey just watching you grow, and being here tonight with you is another amazing point in the journey. So kudos to you. Shout out to Mark. I see you there, Mark, on the call from our executive board representing our retirees. And all of you who've taken the time, our reps who are on, Lori, I see you, Bob, who else is in there? There's, I see some other folks here. I know I saw Stacey Ann Russo, I think. Yeah, Stacey Ann. So thanks for taking the time to come on tonight for Region 2 and Region 2 members. For your dedication and commitment. I think Riley summed it up best, that I myself feel privileged to be one of the elected officers. I know Charlene and Mina, we double dipped tonight. So Region 3 is happening right now, and Region 2 at the same time. So Charlene and Mina are on Region 3 and I'm on Region 2. So you're stuck with me tonight. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but definitely want to just send my regards to for them. I know Christophe's going to talk a lot about politics and some of the things that our members need to know and understand, but I wanted to just point out one thing, because I was excited when I got the word this morning. So I figured I just wanted to share it. If you don't mind, Christophe, I think you were going to talk about it anyways. But you know, we won a big victory. You might have seen it on social media, but Bill 254, which was a bill that the Ford government implemented, which tried to limit how unions like ours we're going to be able to advocate for your needs publicly over the next year leading up to the next election. And they put that bill in place. We challenged it along with other unions, and the courts ruled in our favor, saying it was unconstitutional. I mean, I'll let Christophe probably explain it in more detail, but we won the day, and so we won't be muzzled. I mean, they might challenge it, but or appeal it, but we'll see what happens there. But I think it's just a big victory because, one, it shows that when we do fight, we don't always win, so I shouldn't say that, but we have a chance of winning, right? And I think that's important because I think the next year we're going to be many other fights that we're going to have to fight together. And I think Bill 254 is just one of the fights. We got Bill 124 and others that are still out there that we still need to fight against. The pandemic pay for to make it permanent is a big thing that we're not going to stop talking about. We're not going to start advocating for all healthcare workers. We're glad the PSW's got it. It's expiring soon. We haven't heard if it's going to be extended. Not likely, but you know, there's some fights ahead of us, right? And so I just wanted to take the time out to say that we did have a victory. It was great. We need everyone to be part of the process. I know Region 2, I know a lot of the faces here, you've always stepped up, you've always been part of the campaigns and whatnot. So kudos, and continue to do that. But that's all I've got to say, Carla. I'm always excited to get on with members. If you do have any questions or comments or anything that you want to talk about, I'm here for sure. Online, offline, whatever you want. So I'm just here to support Carla and her role here as an executive board member. I'll pass it back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Tyler. So we're actually going to have our polling question right now, which will be popping up on your screen here. And as a healthcare worker, what is the #1 area you'd like to see improvements? So all you have to do is click on one of those. So Emily, did they take the poll?
Yep, we're getting lots of responses coming in. Still a few
good.
more. We got 12 have voted so far. Let's see if we get a couple more.
It's always nice to see what's most important to everybody.
Yep, we're getting a lot for wages. That's a common one that was big yesterday too. Also big is access to full-time jobs. Another 5 for that, 38%. So it's tied for access to full-time jobs and wages. And then we've got 2 for health and safety, 1 for pension. So again, wages is that's a pretty key one.
Yeah, wages always seems to be a really hot topic. But it's interesting, the health and safety is in there too, which is really nice. But yeah, wages is a really hot topic. And yes, we do deserve more. You know, the PSWs, we have gotten $3 an hour, and it would be nice if it continued. But it would be really nice if all people in healthcare workers got it, not just the PSWs. Okay, so right now, because I know Christoph has another important meeting to go to, I am going to introduce Christoph Barros. He is SEIU's Deputy Chief of Staff and has always been very involved in our political work. So Christoph, thanks for joining us tonight. And I'm going to send it over to you so you can enlighten us on a few things. Thanks, Christoph.
Thank you, Carla, and hello, everybody. It's great to be here with you, and it's great to see a lot of familiar faces and names. It's been too long since I've seen a lot of you in person, but hopefully that will change soon and we can get back to doing some of the great things we did in person. So as Carla and Tyler has mentioned, I'm here to talk about some of the political action or legislative action, let's say, that the government has been doing over the last year up to a couple of months, and really talk about the impact those pieces of legislation and laws have on US healthcare workers. So the first one that Tyler kind of stole my thunder, but it's important news to celebrate, is Bill 254. And as Tyler mentioned, the law was passed in April of 2021. It does a number of things. It really talks about, and you see some of these creative, very kind of marketing type of names of the legislation. This one's called Bill 254, Protecting Ontario Elections Act. And I constantly say, I'm not sure who they're protecting elections for, but it's not working people or healthcare workers. Because when you read the bill and you look at the provisions of the bill, it's very clear what they're trying to do. One of the things that Bill 254 does is increase the donation limit. Previously, it was $1,650. So that's the maximum any individual within the province of Ontario could donate to a political party or candidate. And even that is a stretch for most people. Most people don't have $1,700 laying around to donate to a political party or candidate. This bill increased it to over $3,000. And I think I put that in there because I think it's a very important symbolic attribute of the bill and really lays out who they are trying to protect or help, right? Most working class people, most healthcare workers cannot afford to do those kind of donations to political parties. Obviously, the more affluent, more corporate times to say do have that kind of disposable income. The other thing, the big thing that was very concerning for us and a lot of unions and progressive groups was the limit on what SEIU and other public groups can put into the public realm during an election cycle. And the election cycle is important to talk about too, because Previously, it was 6 months. So a lot of the restrictions on what they call third-party advertising or actions kicked in at 6 months. This bill brought it up to a year, which would have been including now because the next election is going to be June 2nd of 2022, right? So it would have already kicked in. And on the right, you see some of the screenshots of our very successful ads, right? The Time to Care, which is a long-term care campaign that we ran a couple of years ago. And the Time to Care Act ad campaign is actually credited for Bill 124, not including for-profit home long-term care corporations, because of the messages that the Time to Care and the other long-term care ads put into the public realm. The government couldn't include Bill 124, long-term care into Bill 124 for profit, because people knew the cat was out of the bag, but how much money these corporations make in profits and how much of that little they invest in actual care and frontline workers. The other ad there is about the hospital sector. We ran big ads during the last round of hospital bargaining to raise, again, public awareness on the plight of hospital workers. And the last one, stuck in the past, was a home care campaign. And what Bill 254 attempted to do is to silence, or as Tyler said, muzzle unions and healthcare workers from expressing their concerns, expressing their experiences. And the question is, why doesn't Doug Ford and his government want healthcare workers and their voices to be amplified during an election period? Because they know it's not going to play well for them. But of course, the big news, as Tyler shared, is that a lot of 254 this morning from the Superior Court ruling was ruled unconstitutional. The donation limits are still in there because that was not part of the freedom of speech application, but a lot of the restrictions on advertising were included in this judicial ruling, basically saying they're unconstitutional. They limit people's right to free speech. So again, as Tyler mentioned, your union, and this is why political action is so important, because obviously your employer has a big say on your working conditions, but ultimately it is the government that has an enormous say on how your working conditions are, access to wages, access to employment, health and safety, human rights. The list just goes on and on. So it's a big advantage, a big accomplishment of our union, and we should all be proud for the work of our officers and everyone involved in this judicial challenge. One of the other things, two other legislations that are important are Bill 175, again, fancy title, marketing campaign, Connecting People to Home Care and Community Care Act, which is Bill 175, and Bill 195, which is the Reopening Ontario Act. Bill 175 looked at overhauling the home care system within the province, essentially privatizing the home care sector and weakening any sort of government oversight. Now, you may think, why does the government want to weaken their own oversight of an important sector like that? And when you look at people like the previous Conservative Premier Mike Harris, who's now involved in some of these long-term care and possibly home care entities, you can kind of connect the dots there. But again, there was no input from workers. The government didn't ask home care workers, PSWs, what it's like, what changes you want to see. They did it behind the doors, and then they rammed it through Queen's Park. The same as with Bill 195, which is obviously a response to COVID, and obviously public health. Responding to COVID is super important, but hidden in the bill were emergency orders that suspended certain collective agreement rights, like scheduling, the work of the bargaining unit. And these were obviously meant to deal with the pandemic and the public health, but we know that employers took it to the whole new level and they abused some of these emergency provisions for their own benefit. Good news about Bill 195 and those emergency orders, they will expire sometime. I mean, they keep extending them, but at that point, we will be challenging employers on anything they did that was contrary to the collective agreement. But again, Bill 195 and 175 do not protect the rights of healthcare workers. And finally, the big one, and as Lori put in the chat here, Bill 124, again, great title, Protecting a Sustainable Public Sector for Future Generations Act 2019, right? And the big thing here is that if you are paid out of what I call the public purse, out of tax dollars, and it's not from a for-profit entity, then your total compensation annually for a 3-year period is capped at 1%. And the important thing about this, it's not just wages. It's not like just your wage increases are capped at 1%. It's your total compensation. So anything in a negotiation cycle that has a dollar value to it, vacation entitlement, benefit improvements, some would even say scheduling, anything that the employer has to pay for is capped at 1%. It impacts, again, anyone in the public sector. And ironically, just before the legislation passed, some MPPs, namely conservative parliamentary assistants, got a 14% wage increase, and a lot of firefighters and police were able to conclude their collective agreement negotiations just before the legislation passed, meaning they were essentially excluded from the legislation, right? And as Lori mentioned, and I think Tyler mentioned as well, there's also a Supreme Court case against Bill 124, because SEIU, again, partnered with some of our union partners and put in a constitutional complaint regarding this legislation, saying it unfairly limits the rights of unions and union members to collectively bargain, which is an infringement of the freedom of association clause under the Constitution. We're hopeful that once it gets to the Supreme Court, and usually those are multi-year cases, it will be overruled, because British Columbia tried to do the same thing and their legislation got overruled. So we're hopeful, but we still have some time to go before the Supreme Court hears and makes a decision. So in conclusion, I mean, 254 tried to silence healthcare workers during an election period, right? Because of SEIU and because of other unions saying, no, we're not going to take this. We have a very good result today. Likely it's going to be appealed by the government, but we should all be very proud and hopeful that that legislation is going to be null and void. Home care and community care workers and healthcare workers need to be treated with respect. We know the challenges that you have gone through during the pandemic, and while you were going through those incredibly difficult situations, acting as heroes, dealing with things that the public don't even know about, your government was not focused on actually what they should be doing, which was improving your conditions and bringing you the help that you needed. Healthcare and community care, all healthcare workers deserve a raise, and Bill 124 is an unfair attempt at trying to limit those gains at our process, which is collective bargaining. And this is what gets me all the time, right? Bill 254 and even 124 and 175 took months to get through the legislative process. They wrote it, introduced it, went through first, second, third reading, royal assent within months. 254 specifically 2.5 months. Now think of all the other things that SEIU has been promoting and lobbying on to benefit our members. A good example is mandatory WSIB coverage for retirement and developmental service workers that has taken years. We're making progress, but when government wants, when it's in their benefit, they can make something happen like that. When it impacts and improves the conditions of healthcare workers like yourselves, it can take years, right? So in conclusion, please, I know everyone is very busy and you have a lot of competing interests, but whatever time you have, be in tune with what's going on with the politics. Look at our website, our Facebook, understand what is going on in the political realm and how you can assist by writing a letter, making a phone call to an MPP to say, no, this is not right, and I'm going to remember this next election. Because when you participate in the process, when you vote, when you get others to vote for candidates that support healthcare workers, we can and will win. Sometimes that victory takes a long time, but that is, I think, the recipe for us to really make big improvements. So with that, I want to say thank you very much. Carla, thank you so much for your leadership tonight and for facilitating the call. And thank you for everything you do, all of you on this call every day. It's been a pleasure being here with you. And excuse me, I have to run to the other regional meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christophe. Thank you so much for taking the time. And you explaining these bills really help put the pressure on all of us to, to push back and to help fight. And we want these bills repealed. I know SEIU Healthcare has really led the fight in this and has worked closely with other unions. And let's hope we get a victory real soon. So now I'm really excited to introduce Jocelyn Boraz, who will be talking about something very unique that SEIU has, which is our nursing division. Welcome, Jocelyn.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Boras, and I'm your Nursing Division Executive Board Vice President of Long-Term Care in Nursing Division. I'm happy to be here tonight to tell you more about your nursing division. Did you know that SEIU Healthcare is the only service union with a dedicated nursing division? We are proud to have this space for our diverse group of nurses across the province. The nursing division is led by our president, Jackie Walker, and we have a vice president for each sector and representative from all 8 regions. I got involved with our nursing division because I want to be the voice of the workers in our fight for our rights, especially to advocate for a better workplace environment and a healthcare system where our patient or resident health and safety are prioritized. Our nursing division keep our nurses updated on their unique professional standards, which are practice standards set by the College of Nurses of Ontario. We advocate for changes to the scope of practice in our profession, to close the wage gap between the RPNs and RNs, for safety on the job, including proper PPE, to address the staff shortages impacting healthcare, for zero tolerance for violence and harassment of healthcare workers, and so much more. The pandemic has been incredibly challenging for nurses and all healthcare professionals. And so it is important that together we fight for what we need. We are asking our nurses to share your stories from the front lines of battling COVID-19. If you haven't yet, we would love for you to please upload a video directly on the seiunurses.ca/story site, as well for other healthcare workers to share story about nurses you know who go above and beyond. Telling our story is an important way to get the public's, our employer, and the government attention to create meaningful changes for our profession. We need to put pressure on those in power to do better for nurses and all healthcare workers. Our voices are incredibly powerful tools. SEIU Healthcare and CUPE's Ontario Council of Hospital Union recently surveyed nurses across the province. 93% of RPN reported experiencing mental and physical exertion. 66% of RPN reported witnessing a coworker experience violence at work. And 1 in 3 RPN reported not receiving paid time off when requiring to isolate due to COVID-19. Our President Charlene Stewards and our Nursing Division President Jackie, along with SEIU healthcare nurses, have been sharing this finding through media press conferences. We are letting the public know that what healthcare workers are experiencing is not okay. Enough is enough. We deserve better. The government must increase staffing level with full-time jobs that include benefits. We need access to mental health resources and safer working conditions. We have been urging the government to give healthcare workers their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine sooner than 4th month interval. Finally, after pressure from SEIU Healthcare, the government announced that they would reduce the wait time between doses for high-risk healthcare workers, and it's happening right now. On our SEIUnurses.ca website, you can find updates and many useful resources, including a recently published guide for redeployment of hospital workers to other hospitals to protect your professional standard of practice if you are redeployed. You can also find educational webinar. Our It's Time to Support RPN's campaign, a digital version of our nursing division magazine, Scrub and Scope, and so much more. One great thing you can take a look at is our Nurses Unite campaign, where we have received so many submissions from patients and clients across the province who are saying thank you to their healthcare professionals. Messages have come pouring in from the public to show appreciation to healthcare workers for your professionalism, compassion, and integrity. It will warm your heart to read these beautiful tributes. Thank you so much for this time, for your time for this evening. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jocelyn. And I just want to say we are all extremely proud of our nursing division and great job. That was really nice. Thank you. Right now, I'm happy to introduce our next presenter, who is actually Brenda Snyder, who works in SEIU Healthcare, the WSIB department. So Brenda, thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your regional meeting. So I'll just share my screen here. Okay, can everyone see it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is information that some of you may or may not know about health and safety and your right to know, as well as important information should you have an injury or an occupational illness. Okay, so who are your Joint Health and Safety Committee members? And when I meet some members through the work that I do, they don't know them. So one way to find out who they are is go to your health and safety board within your workplace or your unit and find out who their names are. And some of these boards also hold a picture of your Joint Health and Safety Committee members. And also the Union Bulletin Board, which would also have the information about your Health and Safety Committee members. So look them up. They're the committee that makes a difference in your health and safety in the workplace. Get to know them and ask how you can help them make a difference in your workplace. Because a well-informed committee is a powerful committee, and every one of you can help make that difference in your workplace. Also, you have the right to refuse dangerous work and be protected from reprisal in your workplace. Now, we do have a right to refuse guidance tool available for anyone that would like it. You can contact the staff member or your steward, or I believe it's also on our website as well. You also have the right to know about workplace hazards and access to basic health and safety information. When was the last time that you had any WHMIS training or updates? Also, you have the right to participate in any health and safety discussions in health and safety committees. These are 3 legislated rights that labor unions fought for and won. Also, if you have a health and safety concern, first go to your supervisor or manager and meet with them. Discuss the issue or the concern. Can it be resolved at the supervisor manager level? If not, if it has to go above them to be resolved, get a date of when they're going to come back to you. And after discussing the issue or the concern, if it still isn't resolved or they haven't gotten back to you, you have a workplace health and safety complaint form that you can file. And also contact your Joint Health and Safety Committee member and let them know what is happening. They may not be informed and may not know, and they could keep an eye out for that complaint form or ask, I know that there is a form and we need to find out where it is and where it is in the level of being resolved or not. And should an injury or an occupational disease occur, you need to report it to the employer as soon as possible. Seek medical treatment immediately or as soon as possible. Don't delay in seeking treatment, and don't delay in reporting it to the employer. That can delay your claim. It could be denied, even a few days of not seeking any treatment or reporting it. You could be denied by WSIB. We have seen those claims. Ensure a workplace incident report is filled out, and you are entitled to a copy of that incident report. We have had workplace incident reports that have gone missing. We've had incident reports also that have been added to after your signature. So make sure that you have a copy of it. The employer is legally obligated to send a form to the WSIB. It's called a Form 7. Should you seek medical treatment or your work duties are modified or accommodated beyond 7 days. You're entitled to a complete copy of the Form 7, and that is any comments that the employer provides to WSIB as well. They legally have to provide you a full copy. And ensure that your joint SEIU health and safety member is copied in on the Form 7 or the incident report, so that they can help if there's any gaps within the health and safety of your workplace, or if it's something ongoing within the workplace that they can look into and investigate further within the committee. And I also want to leave you with, remember that it takes a village, and the village is your workplace, and it takes all of you to bring you home healthy and safe to your families. And thank you for having me tonight. Back to you, Carla.
Well, thanks, Brenda. That was some really, really good information. And I just want everybody to stay safe and not have to call you, but it's nice. It's really nice to know that you're there, Brenda, if we have any questions or if we need any help. So right now, to deliver some important information, I wanted to introduce Emily from SEIU Communications team, who is going to talk to you about our brand new SEIU Healthcare mobile app. Come on, Emily. You're on mute. There you go.
Hi, thanks. Sorry, just trying to share my screen. It's
That's
giving me a hard time. There we go. I'll try this fancy new version where I can be in the corner. Can everybody hear and see me okay?
Yeah, that's
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me here tonight. It's so exciting to be here. For any of those who don't know me, I'm Emily Innes-LaRue, and I'm part of your communications team. And I'm really excited tonight to talk to you guys about our mobile app. So I'm really hoping that everybody here has downloaded it. But if you haven't, you're going to learn more about it tonight, and you're going to definitely want to go download it after this talk. It's been a really exciting launch that we've had, this new mobile app. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about it tonight, and some information, a little bit of statistics about how it's been going, and some upcoming things. So here we go. Here's a little bit about the numbers of the downloads. So we've up to date right now. Corey just sent me the newest numbers from today. We've had 5,450 total downloads already, which we're really excited about. We expected to have about 2,000 in the first month. So the fact that we're already up to well over 5,000 is really exciting. We've got about 60,000 members, so we still want a lot more, and there's a lot more to go, but it's a really good start, and it's really awesome that it's going to be connecting our membership so much better. And in terms of the two types of download, we've had 61% Apple download and 39% Android. And we get asked, is there a difference between them? Is one better than the other, or anything like that? They are not, they're the same, and we prioritize making all the same changes both platforms. So whichever one you have, it's the same, and it's a great app either way. And this number here, I have to point this way, is 420 stewards that have downloaded so far. And we highlight that number because we do have about 2,000 stewards. And so it's not quite the number we want for stewards yet. So please, if you're a steward on here tonight, make sure you get it. Or if you are a member who knows your steward well, contact them, say if you have the app yet, because it really is a good way. The stewards can get that information first and then can be pushing it to you guys. So it's a really number that we're focusing on and really want to grow that steward number. So this is another really exciting number here. We've got, sorry, to point the opposite direction. So we've got 6,000 article shares, and that's really cool because that means the articles that we're putting out there, the news and the information that we're sharing with you guys are sharing a lot of it. And so you guys are taking that information and passing it on to the other members, and you're sharing it with your friends. And so it's really great. Yes, some members are sharing a lot more. We can see like who shares what, and some haven't shared very much, but it's really exciting that there's a really strong sharing capability. And this just means that, you know, you guys are engaging with it, and we know what you guys like, and we know that you guys are passing this on, and we know that's useful information. So this is really cool that this is, you know, already with 1 month, we're already sharing that much information. And this is really exciting to us to see. And another cool thing is that now 45% of all our member service requests are coming through the live chat. So there's this live chat feature now that you guys can directly talk right to your member service center instead of having to call it up, you know, the old school way. Now we're really modernized, like a lot of things, you know, you just want to do that quick typing, chatting. You want to get that information quicker. You don't want to be waiting on the call. So this is great to see that it's really being utilized. And those members that are really engaged, that are calling our member service center, they, you know, those are really active members. They're on that app and they're using it, and they're chatting with their member service center. So this is really awesome. And there's a really great feature on that too, that you can also request, if you know, if you're not getting an answer right back, you can say what the time would be best for them to contact you at. So you say, I need an answer at this time, get back to me then. So it's a really, really awesome feature, and it's really being well utilized. And so you can get right in there and get on that live chat and ask those questions that you need really quickly. And as we see, it's really being utilized, which is really exciting. So just a quick rundown of the favorite features that we've heard from people that they're really liking. And, you know, we are really excited about these features are the collective agreements. So this was like one of the biggest things that we wanted to have in this app, was having collective agreements right at your fingertips, being able to search through it. So on the, you know, the old way, when you pulled up the document, you couldn't easily quickly look up, you know, how many vacation days do I have? But now you can easily do that. It's the quickest way. You just have a search feature and it brings that information up to you. So people are loving that. It's getting pulled up, it's getting used, and people are just really like, that's a really exciting feature to be able to just have that right at your fingertips now. And again, as I talked about the live chat, that's something that people are loving. The news alerts are really great because you are now getting all that information from SEIU right at your fingertips. And you can also decide that you want to see some more things or not. So if there's a certain topic that you really want to get alerted for, you can choose that as the topic that you want to see more. And then other topics you can have hide. But obviously, you know, we prefer if you keep all those topics open so you're getting everything. But, you know, we want to be able to let you control some of the news that you're seeing. And events. So hopefully tonight you got to see this event came to your phone and it gave you an alert for it. And then also all the information was right there. So to get to it, you know, you can easily click on that, click on the Zoom and right in. So it's making events a lot easier. And also it's very tailored to your area. So now you know, the events that are specifically local events, you know, in your area, you can have those selected to be seen. Those you'll see all of the events. We're not hiding anything from you. We want you to be able to come to any event. If you want to drive as far across the province, you know, it's a big one, you can do it. But the key thing is that you're going to be able to get the ones that are more localized to you. So we think that's a really good feature, and it's reminding people and it's keeping you at the top of mind. I know Zoom events, that's a really hard thing. People say, oh, I'll come, but then you just kind of forget there's a lot going on. But this is keeping you reminded, and you can just add it, press a button, add to calendar, and then you'll always get alerts for those from your calendar. So if you don't have it yet, this is just a quick walkthrough of the download process. It's really straightforward. If you just go to Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, and then you see the nice SEIU logo, a nice little purple logo, and then you hit get. and then it'll download right to your phone. And then the registration is also super easy. So when you go in, you're going to see sign up. Now, if you already have a MemberLink account, you will use that sign in. So you use the I already have an account login there. But if you don't, then you'll create a new one. So just so you know that that's already your account from your MemberLink if you had that. Some people have had a confusion about that. So, and if not, you create a sign up, and then you're going to say that you are an SEIU member. Yes, and then you're going to go to your member ID. We have been sending out emails and texts with your member ID in it. So if you can go look back in one of those. If not, you can just hit skip for now, and then you can come in and then you can ask the member service center directly in the live chat what your member ID is, and you can add it later. So then you just create an account, and then also you probably from one of our emails or a text, you would have seen a referral code as well. And if you input that information, then you do have a chance to win an iPad. So you might want to use that, or if one of the members here wants to send you one, they can also have a chance to win iPads. So if Carla wants to share hers, she can get it right now, and you can give Carla a chance to win an iPad. Just make sure to enter those referral codes for your chance to win. So, like anything with all apps launching, there's always new versions, and they're always going to get better and better. And that's what we're working on. So with the very first launch, one of the issues that came up, some of the collective agreements disappeared. But now pretty much all the collective agreements should be there. So if you weren't seeing yours and you're wondering where it is, just make sure to go do the update. You have to go back into your Apple Store or Google Play and do update, get the new version, and then your collective agreement should be there. We fixed that issue. The few other issues that haven't been fixed yet, but will be very shortly, are some collective agreements for stewards with multiple units. Not all are available. Grievances are not all showing up. And one of the new updates that are coming very soon is that there'll be targeting for sectors and classifications. So it'll be really nice that instead of you seeing all the regional meetings right now, we'll be able to target that specifically for you, that you're going to get your own meeting alert. So you just don't see all 8 of them, and you'll be seeing that. So that's something that's coming new. And then there'll be new updates every 2 to 3 weeks. So again, just be updating them, just be going to get a new one, and you'll get all the best things that we have to offer coming forward. So that's all for me. Thank you so much, Carla, for having me. I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That was a lot of really great information. And I personally have found the SEIU mobile app to be a game changer. Whether it's accessing the union news or the live chat with the MSC, or even just a quick review of my collective agreement. Like, we always forget things, and it's got it right there. So it's great. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to actually have a couple of our polling questions, and then we're going to go to our giveaway. Is everybody ready for that? So right now we're going to do our next 2 polling questions. So I'm just going to wait here for Emily. Oh, here she's got them up already. Have you downloaded the SEIU Healthcare mobile app yet? So that's your first question. And then the second question is, have you gotten the COVID-19 vaccine? So we have those 2 questions, and I'm just going to wait, and Emily's going to let me know when the polls are running there and how we're doing with them.
Got a lot of responses already.
Oh,
Got 8
good.
responses. Give it a couple more seconds, see if anybody else wants to answer.
I'm going to say at least over half have downloaded the healthcare app. Was I right?
You were definitely right. We're very excited. We had almost everybody has downloaded it. We got 1 no. So whoever it is, hope I convinced you tonight that you're going to go download that. So that's the first one. And the second one is, have you gotten the COVID-19 vaccine? And we had 44% have gotten 1 dose, and 65% they are fully vaccinated. Very exciting. And
that's
0
great.
for no, don't want, or no, I don't plan on getting it.
Well, that's really good. That's great that we've got like 65 fully vaccinated. So that is really good. All right, so is everybody ready for a giveaway right now? So on the docket, what we have is a $75 President's Choice gift card. And if you win, we will mail this out to you. So if you win, you have to make sure we have your name, your address, to mail it out to you. And this is going to be the question. You got to put your caps on for this one. I want you to name 2 bills the Ontario government has introduced that have held the healthcare workers down. 2 bills. Now, Emily, you'll have to look up in the chat for this because I can't see it. And they have to get 2 right.
All
Did you
right,
get
we've got
someone first?
Tina Perot.
Tina Perot, congratulations.
No.
Yep, she
Oh.
had, what was it,
We
195?
got 195 and 224, so it's close, but not quite actually. Oh, should I say it? One's right? One's right. Any other answers? $75.
So it wasn't
Oh.
Tina.
There you go.
There we go. We got
You got it.
195 and 124. Tina's got it. Well done, Tina.
Nice. Well, congratulations. It's always nice to get an extra little gift card in the mail, especially with the summer months coming up. I know you've had a lot of really important information that's been kind of thrown at you tonight because we did have a lot to keep you updated on. So I just want to check to see if we have any questions. This is our question and answer period. So is there any questions that you would like to ask from anyone on the panel? Tyler's here. Just type them in your chat, or you can wave your hand and Emily will say, oh, so-and-so has a question. You just have to take yourself off mute if you want to talk. Is there any questions there?
Not seeing any yet.
You're not
You know,
seeing any?
One
No,
thing,
none in the chat. No hands up.
Carla,
Yeah,
one thing I just wanted to raise up, just in case anybody has some questions, but I did see a comment earlier. I want to just go back to it. I thought of Catherine, she must not be with us still, but Catherine put in there, wage gap is the real issue between private and government LTC homes. And that is a thing. And part of why we've called to take privatization out of care is for that reason, because that's where that extra money is going to. It's their shareholders. Even during the pandemic, the shareholders of those for-profit companies, so companies like Extendicare where you work, and Rivera and Chartwell and Sienna's, they were able to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in dividends to their shareholders. So think about that. They've gotten money from the public purse and they're still able in the pandemic, but yet they can't pay their employees great wages, good benefits. And so I think Catherine's point is a good one that we just need to hammer home on because there is a discrepancy between the municipal county-run homes and the private facilities that are out there. And so that needs to be addressed, but I just thought I'd raise that up.
yeah, does need to be addressed, Tyler. It's very common everywhere, and it is. Is there any other questions there, Emily, that you saw?
Not seeing anything. No, I think you must have hit everything super well tonight, information-wise. So,
well, if anyone does come up with a question, you can always still call, either ask your rep, ask your steward. You can call the MSC Center. You can go through the app and do the live chat, and we'll happily answer anything that we can and help you. But unfortunately, we have run out of time for this event. So, but before I go, I want to just give you a few highlights of some new upcoming events that we have. We have 2 coming up on Facebook, our live Facebook this month on June 22nd, and we're going to celebrate Filipino Heritage Month. And on June 29th, we will be celebrating Pride Month. Both events start at 7 o'clock and will be live streamed on your Facebook page. Also, we have Purple Day is fast approaching on July 16th. So make sure you have your plans all ready to celebrate. And for more details on the upcoming events and initiatives, make sure to download the brand new SEIU mobile healthcare app. I want to thank everyone so much for attending tonight. It's really been great seeing you, and I really look forward to seeing you at our next Region 2 general meeting, which is going to be in the fall when it's a little cooler. And we're going to put a feedback survey in the chat room, and we're also going to email along with a copy of this meeting tonight. Please fill it out so we can learn more about you and what you'd actually like to see in these meetings. I also want to remind everyone to follow SEIU Healthcare on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, you can find us under SEIU Healthcare Canada, while on Instagram, we're at SEIU Healthcare. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, or if one does pop up in your head, you can contact your member service center at 1-877-672-7348, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and someone will be happy to help you. And you can also access your MSC through your SEIU mobile app. And thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I hope you got informed. I hope you had fun, and please enjoy the rest of your week or your night and stay safe. Thank you so much. Ciao for now.